So today we will be looking into a Go project which we're going to be deploying with the help of GitHub Actions on our server in the form of Docker container. So I have just created a simple blank folder as of now. In here I would be just initializing my uh, Go mod, okay, and then would be writing some code, and then in the end we're going to be deploying it on the server on a VPS using GitHub Actions. We will be going through all the processes step by step. Okay, so yeah, let's just begin. So firstly, I'm gonna be starting with Go mod in it, and I would be initializing it with my uh, GitHub repository, github.com slash Shubham Dixit 63 slash go GitHub Docker. Okay. It's going to be creating a Go mod file. Then we are ready to go to do the things. Now, next thing I'm going to be creating a folder CMD. Inside here, I'm going to be creating a folder web. So I would be keeping a simple application which will just respond us with, it will be a simple web application which will respond us with the hello world kind of stuff. So we're going to be using go mux for that process. So in here I'm going to be creating a go file which would be our main.go, okay, and the package would obviously be main. Here I'm going to be creating a function main. Now next thing obviously we're going to be looking into the uh, go mux. We're going to be using go mux as a dependency to create our routes here. So for that, I'm gonna be installing Go Mux. So hold on, just let me bring that up. So we're gonna be using okay. So I would be copying some boilerplate code already from my existing project to make it easy. I will share the link on the description of the video, so that to make it easy. Yep, we have lot many things in here, but we would be keeping only the things that are important. For example, we won't be looking into this database part, so I'm going to be removing this part. Also, we don't need this info log or error log, so we can just remove this part. And yeah, about this abstract, we're going to be creating this abstract, and yes, kind of this, right? And we don't need this as of now. Fine. Okay, so we have our things ready. Next I'm going to be creating, so if you see that I've created this abstract, so I will be going and would be creating an app.go file. So basically I would be using so this is how we structure our code in Go. We generally create a struct that actually is kind of act as a dependency injector. So we can just create, we can just instantiate that struct, and we can then create methods and pass receivers to those methods, and we can call them as we want, such that we can pass dependency, maybe database dependency or whatever we wish for. Okay, so I'm going to be creating this abstract, and inside the main package only. And so yeah, if you see that we have these models with us which we don't require as of now, and log So yeah, we can just keep the log as such. Right. So we don't need this model. The next thing is like we have to register our routes. Okay, so we're gonna be creating our separate routes folder, not folder, basically a routes file. So new file. I'm gonna be creating routes.go. In here, I would be creating our func, and I would be calling it register routes. In here, we will be passing the app pointer, which will make this as a method for this struct app struct, such that it would be easy for us to pass the dependency, whatever the dependency we want in here. Next, we will be needing the gorilla mux. So I would be just putting it, bringing it at the top in here. Import. So I guess I have got this extra line. So I'll be writing. So GitHub uh, .com/gorilla slash mux. Okay. Okay, so we will do go more tidy, and we'll just uh, something got. Okay, so I have to just be using the dependencies, and yeah, that kind of worked. Now I want to be creating a new router, so I will be creating a mux dot new router. I would be creating only one single route that would be serving my content. It is just for a demonstration purpose, so you can add as many routes as you want. So r dot handle func. In here, I'm going to be passing the path. Let's just call it. Let's just make be the root route, and then we will attach the method as get. So this would be my get route. And also next I'm going to be creating so it needs a handler. Okay, so I would be creating a handler which will be responsible for handling our data, right? So I'm going to be creating another file. I'm going to be calling it handler.go. In here I would be creating a simple method func. Let's just call it root handler. So you can name it anything, whatever you want. Now it will again be a method to the respective abstract. So it's like we are just binding our whole handlers and routes to our app. Okay. So here also we're going to be passing the pointer to app. So root handler, and in here I would be passing the http dot http dot response writer, uh, and then we'll be having a request that would be http dot request req pointer to http dot request. Okay. Yeah, this makes it complete. Now we are good to go to use this handler in our route. So I'm just going to be bringing that up, root handler, and we'll be putting it in here. And I think the package is fine. It is giving in red. is asking me for to create root handler. Okay, so we don't have to use root handler like this. Obviously, we have to use app.root handler, and it would be working right. So now we are good to go, and we don't need this extra lines. Yeah, we are good to go. Now in here, we have to use register routes. So I think the spelling is wrong. So it should be register routes. Right. Now we are good to go. I think app.register routes, and some methods are missing inside my app. Hmm. Okay, so let me just complete this method in here. Uh, I would be just sending a byte response, byte array here. Now I will see that this is we have the register routes with us. App is fine. Still there is some problem. Okay, it returns nothing. Mm, okay. I think I have to return a route from here, and it should be having the mux router. Mux dot router. I, now we are. I think we are good to go, and let's see if there is anything we need more. So we have listen and serve, and we have the this thing. Right. Now let's just run this our application. So cd cmd web, and I have this air installed. So uh, hold on. Okay, so go run main, go run dot. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so it is complaining that this there is no such directory. So actually, we don't need this directory, or we just create this directory quickly, and so it should be inside new directory, and I'm gonna be calling it PMP. Try to run this again. Info.log, no such file or directory. So let's create a file info.log for logging purpose. It will just log out here things some things. Uh, uh, Hold on. I think if the path is right, then I have to create this folder here. Okay, so it should be inside the root directory. Now let me just run it. Okay, so it doesn't gives any error as such. So I think things might work fine. So yeah, like I think APIs are working fine. Okay, so let me just make a curl request. So curl HTTP slash localhost 4000. Okay, so we got this right. The APIs are working fine. So our application is working fine. Next thing is like we have to create a Docker file for it, right? Such that we can create a Docker build, and also we have to attach a GitHub workflows to it. So that's the next thing we're gonna be doing here. So yeah, let's just do it. So I'm gonna be creating a touch Docker file, and yeah, it would be in here. So again, I'm going to be copying the Docker file contents from the already existing project. So I'm just using from Golang 1.18, recent version of Golang. I guess it is 1.19 right now, but I'm going to be using 1.18. Then what I'm doing, I'm creating my work directory as source, and I'm copying all the contents to my source directory. Then I'm running go mod download. uh, then I'm just going to this work directory, changing the directory as srccmd web, because here my main.go is lying, which I have to build, which I have to compile. Then I am running this part. So I'm just building a statically linked binary, okay, with this command. uh, then after that, I'm just installing Ubuntu here. Okay, so these are some like I had some trouble in running my Golang application in Alpine version, so I'm using this Ubuntu one, and it works pretty cool. And then what I'm doing, I'm just copying all the contents to my work directory, which is app, from src cmd web, and then I'm exposing port 8090, and in the end I'm just running this binary dot slash app, which is a final binary or executable which would be created in our application, in our folder structure, which we will run to run our application. So yeah, this is the whole Docker file, and which we're going to be using to build our Docker image, and we will be pushing our Docker image to our Docker Hub account. From there, we're going to be SSHing up with the GitHub Actions only, and then we will be deploying it in our server. That's the next part. Next, I'm going to be creating the GitHub workflows in our application. So I'm going to be uh, creating a file, mkdir.github. uh, then in here, inside that, cd.github, I'm gonna be creating a directory workflows. So in here, make directory workflows, and here I'm creating a file called push.yaml. Touch push.yaml, and I'm pasting the contents from one of my project that I have used. So I'm going to be walking through this project, what I have done in here. So in here at the top, it can be a workflow title. So I'm just naming it pushing to Docker Hub. And then this is a trigger on push. So whenever I'm going to be pushing to any branch, you can just configure it for other branches as well, for any particular branch as well, if you want. For example, right now, if I have any branch and the code is pushed, so it will just trigger this action. And here I am defining my environment variables. So Docker user, Docker password, and repo name. So this is what you need. So you have to generate the Docker Hub token that I will show you how to generate the Docker Hub token. You have to generate that, and these are the things that you have to put in your repository settings credentials that I'm going to be showing you next. In the job section, you have all the jobs. Okay, so the job name is this, and it is running on Ubuntu latest, right? So whatever the operating system you want to run your job on. Then we have the steps defined in here. So firstly is the actions checkout. It's gonna be checking out my repository, and then it's gonna be logging into the Docker. Then all these things involve building the image and pushing the image to the Docker Hub, right? Finally, we have this thing executing remote SSH command. So I have a server where this GitHub action will log in through SSH credentials. I have a private key and a public key, and user would be logging in up with the SSH credentials, with the credentials that have deployed, that I have passed in here. These are again will be the part of the GitHub actions credentials. And then in here we have this script part. So once the user has been logged in on the server, this script will run. In this script, I am again logging to my Docker hub, and taking out the image and running the container as a service in my VPS. So that's the whole steps involved in here. Next, we're gonna be looking into the how to push this application to my GitHub and run these things, uh, and deploy this application on a server.